on the world around you when you're under your own power and the wind's kind of just blowing past you and you're just kind of in that solitude moment. It's just pretty special. If that's not something that you're into, it might be kind of hard to relate to that. I get that. But certainly there are things in your life that you're passionate about that you can relate to, like this. So pretty much any time that I'm planning on going on a major trip, I'm always in the back of my mind calculating, how can I work in a cycling part of this? And it's kind of fun, just something I love to do. But when I was in Zion, the bike that I ended up renting there was a really nice bike. And when I had never ridden one, it's a hybrid, so it's a mix between a road bike and a mountain bike. It's got a little bit thicker tires than a regular road bike, but not like a big mountain bike. And it was light, it's aluminum and all of that. And when I got on it, I could just feel the power. Like when I got on and I pushed off for the first time and started pedaling, I could just feel the power of that bike and the way it was built and how it fit for me and all those things. And it was pretty empowering. It was just a cool experience. And so as a result I rented that for 2 days. As a result, I told my wife on vacation, I said, I got to get one of these. This is what I've been looking for, that somewhere between bike that I can ride on gravel or through grass and not have to worry about puncturing a tire, but it's also not a mountain bike that takes so much more effort because you got all that friction on the road with the thicker tires and it's just can wear you out faster. And so as soon as I got back, I went to my local bike shop through which I've purchased all the bikes for the past 20 years that I purchased through our local bike shop here. And I went and found the one that I wanted and was excited about getting that. And I've been riding it now for a couple summers. And it's awesome. And, looking back on that experience that I had there in Zion in getting to do something that really meant something to me personally, and then having this connection of recognizing, wow, here's another level for me as a result of getting to experience that particular model of brand of bike. Here's another level I can go to in my own personal experience, which is a really cool connection. And I want to share with you that the truth is that the students that we are coaching in this season through the Kuest system are a lot like that experience that I had this past summer and now beyond with connecting here and riding more and more. What happened for me is that getting that particular bike unlocked and refueled my passion, because I was kind of stuck with not being able to use what I had properly, and I was still riding on all of that, but it just wasn't like I used to. But since I've connected to this tool that really fuels that passion, and I've been on it a lot more. And so I put in nearly 1,000 miles just in this past fall on that bike. And so in the same way, there are ways that we can tap into the passions of the kids that we are coaching that I really could refire them and get them reconnected and re-energized and re-engaged on not only the team that you're leading, but also just in their life. At this stage in a person's development, when we're dealing with 9, 10 to 12-year-olds, especially, it's such a formidable time of our lives. This is when a lot of who we are gets set in stone. Our personality kind of gets written in its final chapters, and the things that we're passionate about become more real to us. We're not quite as flighty in the things that we get excited about doing and seeing and wanting to be. We start to get a bit more narrow focused. And really, this is such a critical time for us as coaches to engage these students in the kind of conversation where they're starting to dial in on the things that really fire them up. And when we get into opportunities where these kids are having a chance to express their passions, we really want to pay attention. We really want to listen closely to what it is they're telling us, because these are glimpses potentially into their future and how we, for example, help them to navigate this time of their life can have a huge impact on what they choose to do with the rest of their lives. I said in a call recently with some leaders, we were talking about how we recognize that the first part of our lives is where things are formed, And then, as we go on into adulthood, they kind of get set in stone. And it occurred to me this idea that we spend the first 20% of our lives becoming who we're going to be in the last 80% of our lives. Think about that. We spend the first 20% of our lives becoming who we're going to be in the last 20% or 80% of our lives. And so that juncture between the 20 and 80 is so critical. And that's where we really want to be focused as coaches. Now, I remember when we first started Kuest back in the early 2000s, that we had the opportunity to come alongside a young man who was growing in his administrative ability, his capacity as an administrator. And so as we would tour around the country with the group that we took for several summers, doing live shows and so on, we gave him the opportunity to use some of that administrative gift, along with the gifts that the others used as well. Tremendously talented young people. And they were between the ages of 9 to 12. And at the time, Michael was about that age frame. And so we started allowing him to take greater control of administrating with the tours. And so as he got up into 13, 14-year-old range, he would call ahead about hotels, making sure that the bookings were all set and so on. And we began to really use that gift. And today, that gift is playing out in his life. And as we look back over the trajectory of some of the young students that we've had the chance to influence and impact, we see this pattern that because we paid attention in those important years, we were able to help, not help them choose, but help to shape them toward the things we saw emerging in who they were. And I can't overemphasize the importance of that step, that process. Like I say, for me, growing up through my high school years, I was passionate about cycling. At one point, I wanted to be a professional cyclist. It wasn't in the cards. And in fact, I just listened to a tape the other day from 1985 when I spoke a message in my dad's church at the age of 17. And at the end of the message, my dad said out loud, he said, "I really think that Tom is destined to become a preacher." And I don't remember that at the time. I'm sure that it had an impact on me when he said it at the time. I don't really remember it, but just last week in listening to that message and then hearing my dad's voice say that at the end of the message, and I look now at our reality, pastoring the very church that my parents started, working to impact the next generation like we do, man, how powerful that must have been for me to hear my dad say, I'm proud of him, and I think this is a part of what his future is. And one of the things that he said in that message was, he said, in no way do I want to try to create this for him if this is not who he's supposed to be. I'm not saying this to pressure him to become this. It's just something that I see. And that's the very tack that we take as coaches, is that there's a part of us that should be leaning in to understand who our students are and what we potentially see them becoming, and that we can't be afraid, not necessarily to say, hey, I think you're going to be this or you're going to be that, but you have this skill. I really see this gift in you. There may be something to this for you. And then allowing ourselves to have the flexibility to help shape and mold that in them with their participation. It's powerful. It's powerful stuff. And, I think if we can draw on the passions that they already have inside of them, this is when we're going to begin to see real traction with their engagement. I know it's played out in my life. It's played out in the lives of others that we've had the opportunity to help coach and lead. And certainly today, you and I both know those things that have stuck with us that we're still passionate about. Man, that's what energizes us. It's what gets us excited. It's what keeps us up at night. And we know that already in the life of a person, about the age of 9 to 12-ish, somewhere in there, that those things are starting to percolate, starting to kind of marinate for them. And so we need to lean in and pay attention. What is it that I see? What am I hearing you talk about? What am I seeing you lean toward? And how can I shape my own coaching to really invest in you in a way that helps you head that direction? Again, we're not trying to force a direction, but we're just saying, I see something. And I want to shape my perspective and my approach to help really draw that out of you and develop that in you. So I just wanted to encourage you in that. It may be good for you to start a journal, to start taking notes on the individual students that you lead, things that you see, and make note of those things so you can cycle back to them. If you see them emerge as patterns, then begin to lean in on it. And don't even be afraid, especially as they get older, to even have that conversation. Lean into that conversation with them and ask them about it. They may not know exactly what that's going to be expressed like in terms of like a career or a pursuit, but certainly you can hear them talk about the things they love about it, what gets them excited, and tap into that passion. So I just wanted to share that with you today. We have an incredible chance to impact the shaping of the next generation of not just future leaders, but now leaders in these students. And I want to encourage you to seize on that. Grab a hold of that season. Don't let it just fly by you while you're trying to just fit in maybe with their culture, use the right phrases and terminology, be on the right social media platforms, but rather just embrace your role as an adult, someone who at times may not be cool, and recognizing that's okay. I don't have to be cool because but I do want to influence you. I want to be there for you. I want to shape your path, help to mold and shape who you are so you can be the best you. That's the opportunity that we have. And it's fleeting, it's quick, but I can tell you that the payoff is tremendous. As I talk to young leaders that look back now and say, man, we thank you for what you have invested in us. There's no payback like that as a mentor and as a coach to hear those words. I'm excited to share with you in the future some conversations I've had the chance to have with some coaches that have had great impacts on students, and the words that they've shared with me where it concerns the power of coaching and how we go about it. But just today I want to take the minute just to encourage you that to seize this moment, dig into it, understand it, uncover those passions and those truths, shape and mold how you coach around the things that you discover, propel who they are, give them the chance for those things to stick with them, and they can become the greatest, reach their fullest potential, and realize their dreams that are locked up inside of them already through your coaching. Man, I appreciate you. If you have questions, if you have thoughts, ideas, I'd love to hear them. You can reach out to me via the Facebook page here and just direct messages via Facebook, or you can email us through the website. Get a hold of us in some way. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions that you have, any way that we can help you, but keep leading strong, keep leading this next generation strong. Let's grow strong leaders for a strong future. Until next time, have a great week.